viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. It is after hours with SMA today. I'm way behind, trying to play a little catch up here after hours. I've got a few things left. One of them is this 2008 Mercury Sable. It's got the big 3.0 in it. Customer complaint is it needs a fuel filter. That's what the guy told me, and he's going to leave it at that. So anyhow, I was able to talk to him and kind of get some symptoms as far as what's going on, because obviously these cars don't have your conventional fuel filter. Needless to say, he says when he drives down the road, steady cruise, 50, 60, somewheres in that area, and what it sounded to be light throttle tip in, let off the gas, coast, just start giving her the beans just a little bit, and then the car acts like it runs out of fuel. That's what he tells me. That just based on experience is very characteristic of a ignition misfire. If ignition's got a misfire, that's typically the time in which it does it. Torque converter locked up, cruising steady, 1-2% grade on the road, light throttle tip in. If you got a coil breaking down, that's typically when it will happen. Oddly enough, Fords are like that, GMs are like that, Chryslers are like that. Everything I've run across, very, very common. So I've talked to him, that's my suspicion. However, there's no check engine light, there are no codes, there's no pending codes, no nothing. So the point of this video is, if I'm right, I'm going to show you how to diagnose this from the driver's seat to determine, am I running out of gas, or is this indeed a misfire? Hopefully we can see the screen out here. I'm out sitting in a nice AC because it's freaking hot out today. It said it's 81, but it feels a lot toastier than that. So we'll go through, we'll read codes. I'll show you there are no continuous codes there. We will back out. And the other problem with these older Fords is we go to the data stream and there is no, get down to the M's here. Let me make sure it's not our cylinder. No, it's not. We'll get down to the M's, the LMNOP, ABCs. Let's see where we're at. We have no misfire data, no specific cylinder misfire data. And, some guys are, got to have that misfire data, no codes, I can't fix it. We do have this function. We'll go into special test, we'll go into power balance. Now this is going to be very similar to the Ford IDS, where of course the car's idling right now, but we have this power balance graph, and if we have a cylinder drop out, we're going to get this, this huge downward V. You can see we've got cylinder 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, so it must be the firing order. Now the AC clutch just kicked on there. I probably ought to be smart and turn off the accessories. Sometimes, if you have a coil breaking down, you can power brake them slightly, but that a lot of times will screw up this graph. I'm just going to do a light tip in here, power braking. I could be completely wrong on this. I don't think I am, but sometimes after a power brake you'll get one to drop out just for a little bit. At any rate, I'm not seeing it there. Now the power balance test isn't really good driving down the road. Sometimes you can get it, but not always. I'll just I'll leave it at that. Turn that AC back on before we're dying here. We're back out. Now I'll show you the good stuff. Hopefully that's not blown right in the camera. So what we want to do, a lot of guys know this, but we're going to go just generic OBD II. We're going to go into the mode 6 data where it stores cylinder misfires. And we're going to go right here, test results. Oops, not that fella. We want to go to mode 6. Now, Alto, shame on me. Launch is kind enough to decode the TIDs and PIDs for us. So what we want to do is I'm going to come down to the very specific misfire data. I don't remember the test IDs. Some of the test IDs, I don't know, were 53 they used to be. But we're going to pop in. So this is test or mode 6 data for number 1 misfires. We're going to pop through this misfires for the current drive cycle, and then misfires, what's it say here? Exponential weighted moving average. So your EWMA misfire counts for the last 10 drive cycles, and there are no counts on this. You'd have to look up to see what these values are. This is not 65,000, misfires, I don't believe, and I don't know what its threshold is as far as turning on the light. So we'll just zip down through these. Of course, there's been on this drive cycle. Cylinder 2, cylinder 3. Nothing there. We're going to go cylinder 4. Okay, here we go. So That's fantastic. We have a count of 10 there. This drive cycle, nothing, because I haven't driven the car yet. But that's a good clue right there to see that we have a value, you know, that confirms my suspicions. Now we'll go cylinder 5. No sense in checking this drive cycle because I haven't even felt any misfires yet. And cylinder 6. So we will keep that in mind. We will keep cylinder 4 in our mind. This is a screen we'll look at when we drive it. Misfire counts, last and current drive cycle. So I say we take it for a toot. We're going to try to reproduce this. One thing I'm going to watch, because I can't watch misfire data while I'm driving it, is I'm going to look at some fuel trim data, just kind of get an overall sense of health of the engine. You know, is it indeed running out of fuel? I mean, I could be completely freaking wrong on this. I doubt it. You know, I'm not trying to be a jerk by saying that I doubt it. It's just I've fixed a lot of these things. So I'm going to grab some fuel trim data here. LMNO. Where is my LMNO? There it is. So I'll grab some data here just to get an idea. QRS. Boom, boom. Fuel trims, super handy tool to look at. Look at them, we'll drive it, try to recreate this problem. Just mentioned sitting here at idle in case somebody wants to know. That is where our fuel trim data is at right now. Not too bad, less than 10%. You know, a tick on the lean side, but nothing to worry about. We'll see what it looks like here. I'll give her a little rip down the road. Got some strut bearings. You hear them? Creaky. Creaky and moany old Sable. Don't know how many miles are on it. The odometer does not work. That is another thing that it is here for. Evidently the LCD display, I guess it would be, flickers, and then it just goes out and has remained out for quite some time now, so we'll probably just pull a cluster, send it out to United Radio, and have it fixed. Get out here on the big road. So just accelerating normally, I didn't feel anything. Mode 6 data is often overlooked by a lot of guys, and it's something that you can get off all generic scan tools. There's a car coming, but we'll see what we can do. I'm just going to accelerate, half throttle acceleration. There's 3/4 throttle. Does not seem to have a hitch in its giddy up. I'm just driving like a normal guy. So now we're doing 60 mphs. There's a slight grade to this road, about maybe 1%, so I'm going to back off the throttle. I'll do a slow tip in here. Oh, there we go. Oh. Yeah, she got the hiccups right there. I'm just going to keep my foot right in it. Of course, usually we accelerate past it. Okay, I'm going to let back off and slow down. Got maybe 6 or 7 misfires there. Slow tip in. Oh, she rough. Oh. See if I can hold this camera from making all the racket. Now we're going to start coming into a downhill, so I might not do it. Okay, we're doing about 45. No, nothing. I don't think the torque converter was locked up. Let me get down here on the flats. It probably all looks flat on camera. Let's see here. So doing about 55. Coasting. Give it just enough gas, get torque converter lock up, and I'm just going to tip in real slow. Oh, there it goes. Ugh. Yeah, that was, it's doing it right now. I carried on pretty good there. Not a steady dead miss. Definitely a fish bite, intermittent. We'll get up here and spin around, rip back to the shop. Look at our data, see if we gained anything of any value. I don't believe that's torque converter shutter. It's too sporadic. Right now it's doing it. I'm just barely tipping into it. But the problem is you start to accelerate and you actually accelerate past it. In my opinion, torque converter shudder is more pronounced, more systematic. You know, it's more of like a and then it's in. You can't see my face jiggle, but just imagine me jiggling my finger while I did that. All right. Whole beans. No misfires. Get the speed back down under 100 here, and we'll tip into it just a little bit, come around this corner, try to do it again. Here we go. Fuel trims are perfect, just FYI. Total trim is almost 0. Light throttle tip in. Misfire, misfire. That went away. So back down here again. Here we go, 50. Oh, that's a good one. Just kind of feels like you're going over railroad tracks. Yeah, these older Fords are kind of finicky. I don't know what their criteria is for setting misfire codes. Try it right here. This ought to be good. Oh yeah, maybe more than one cylinder. Hard to tell. That's kind of jerky, pretty good. Yep. Yeah. Then, like I say, accelerate past it. So. Stomp on it, we're running just fine. Alright, we'll go back, check our data, see if we learned anything. If there's no misfire data, then I don't know, we'll come up with a plan. Hey, there's another Ford Taurus. We can steal parts off that. It's probably not the Duratec. Alright, let's see. So like I say, fuel trims are gorgeous driving down the road. Definitely doesn't need a fuel filter. I think that's the other point of this video could be is the customer interview portion. Let me just throw this down here on the feet. That way it's not blowing in the microphone here. So we're going to bounce back to OBD II data. Alright, we're going to go right to, just for the heck of it, let's see if it did set any pending codes. It was jerking pretty good there for a little bit. Alright, no pending codes, no current codes, even though it clearly has a misfire. We're going to go to mode 6, and then we're going to hop into, what was it, cylinder 4? Misfire cylinder 4. We're going to hit next. Bada bing, bada boom, baby! There it is. Misfire counts for last and current drive cycle. Our counter got up to 66. Cylinder 4 appears. Now we do want to go through and check them all just to make sure there's not some. Okay, so what was this? Cylinder number 1 showed 3. It was jerking pretty good there. So cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, nothing. Oops, cylinder 4 we already know. Okay. Cylinder 5, nada. Cylinder 6, nada. So 4 and 1. Now what is their relationship in the firing order? Because I don't remember the firing order. One and 4 are next to each other in the firing order. You can see that on the power. Oh gosh, I hope there wasn't glare on that last screen. But 1 and 4 are next to each other in the firing order. Not uncommon. It is reading crankshaft speed variation, so you know, I wouldn't fret too much seeing those 3 counts on a number 1 cylinder. So now we have to come up with a little plan. I totally lied to you guys. This is not a 3.0, it's a 3.5. Never believe a guy who never popped the hood. I wanted to look up cylinder ID layout because I'm thinking to realistically to scope this and, you know, all that hoopla, you know, getting all that crap under the hood in the car, driving down the road just to prove out a coil. I don't know what this looks like under the hood. I'm hoping that we can change number 4, which front of the vehicle, hooray, hopefully it's easy to get to. We'll swap 4 and 5, take it for a shake, see if our misfire counter moves in our mode 6 data. If it does, fantastic. We did the whole thing and did it from the driver's seat. Oh, today's my lucky day. Look at that. So this should be cylinder number 4. Now granted, we could have a spark plug going bad or something. Easiest thing to do right now is play Swaptronics. All I need to do is run inside the barn and grab a 8mm here. Get it unplugged. Swap it with cylinder number 5. See if we have any change. If we don't have any change, what I would do, or be inclined to do at that point, is change the spark plug from cylinder to cylinder. It's quick, it's dirty, it's easy. Ooh. There's number 5. Suspect good. Ooh, here's number 4. Suspect bad. Doesn't have any kind of stink to it. The little rubber donger up top has been folded over for some time, so if you're curious as to why that one came out a little bit easier, there's really nothing I can do about it, fellas. But we suspect it's bad anyways, so we will swap that in the number 5. Plug it up. Wiggle it in. Plug it up. Click it. Like this, spin them down. Like I say, mode 6 data, any generic OBD2 scan tool will have 10 modes of OBD2. Now this car is only going to have 1 through 9 because it's a 2008, so you're not going to have mode 10 data, which is your permanent code data. Has nothing to do with this video, I'm just trying to find things to talk about. In the words of Rango, let's ride. Click that baby out. God, what was that stupid thing? Oh, little California coaster there. Yeah, we're riding in the Sable off into the sunset, fellas. Get her wound up, we'll get down this little knoll. Hump in the road. It's down at 50. Slow tip in. Son of a hoo-ha. You better not freaking straighten up on me. Oh, it's gonna burn my biscuits if it doesn't do it now. Well, that's a hard load right there. Stupid cars. Could be carbon tracking down the side of that number 4 plug. Enough to make a priest swear. Nothing. Smooth. Smooth as butter. swear I hate cars someday. Alright, well, I ain't gonna bore you to death with this. I'm gonna turn the camera off because most people are sleeping at this point. Gonna see if I can get it tagged up. Doesn't that just suck? Trying to make a sweet video, show you guys something, and we get this. Now I know, heart of hearts, in my gut, because I got a big one, that the coil's going bad, bottom line. I've seen it in cases like this where you have this very rare, or I don't want to say rare, intermittent, I guess rare would be a good acronym, synonym for that, misfire. And you know, it might be that plug coil combination. Coil's just starting to break down. It's happy on this spark plug. Either case, I want to take and mark this. That's our suspect bad one. We're going to pull them back out. I do want to have a look at the number 4 spark plug. So I want to take these back out. Now I want to make sure. Now, again, this rubber dust seal up at the top has nothing to do with this coil before you jump on me all over that. Or jump all over for me about that. However you want to say it. I want to see if there was some carbon tracking perhaps inside the coil down the side of the plug that, you know, lined up with this coil, and now that we've moved it, it doesn't line up anymore. Let me get a bright flashlight. Sometimes you can look right down in the coil and you can see evidence of, you know, tracking. So let's just make sure the clean top one, well, actually the one with the messed up rubber, that's all we need to know. This thing's hot. Probably shouldn't touch the spark plugs. But foolishly we may. Again, I have no idea how many miles are on it. I guess we could look on the scan data, see if it shows the odometer reading on there. Get a light. Coils are hotter than a banshee. Let's see, here is good. Here's suspect coil. Now I'm going to try to show you this the best I can. I think I do see some evidence of tracking. So you got the white spooge right there. Just inside of that, I do believe I see what to be carbon tracking. Maybe only crap, I don't know, this thing's gonna focus. Try to get the light just right. Oops, better get it down there where you can see it. Man, it's hot. I'm being a Sally. Let's see. Come on, baby, focus for me. So right in the middle of the white goo, you see a little shot up. It's maybe 1/8 of an inch long. I'd point to it, but I can't because my finger is bigger than that. And I'm holding the light. Hopefully you guys can see that. I don't know if that's focusing. It appears to be a carbon track, which certainly can cause a misfire. It definitely appears to be, and I'll mark it for you here. Let me just look at this. Let me get a Sharpie or something. I'll just try a regular pen. I want to see if I can't. It's going to be right in line with the little notch I made in the white goo. I could be totally wrong about this too. This whole video is going to be a flop. You see it in there? Hopefully. Alright, well that's the best I can do. Wow, why do you keep picking that up? It's not hot, just didn't take me long to look at it, people. This one I do not see any of that evidence in. Coil's definitely roasty toasty. Against my better judgment, I think we might give it a try, see what it feels like. Now, if that's the case, that would be spark occurring outside the cylinder. However, it usually extends from the electrode inside the coil down, so I'm a little skeptical that I'm just a little bit nuts. That feels good. she comes, and everybody's going to want to see that end, so I'll just show it to you for what it's worth. It appears to be a single platinum, excessively overgapped, so obvious worn spark plug. We'll do the big reveal. It's like the unboxing. Everybody likes their unboxing videos. Okay. That right there. Wow. Wow. Is that a crack in the porcelain? Alright, well, let's have a gander at the T on the Motorcraft. We're going to enhance. Enhance. I'm thinking right at that T in the Motocraft is a burn spot. And that would be the same, the same exact length as our burn mark in that coil. And I almost am curious if right across the LAT in platinum, if I see a hairline fracture, now that we see that little burn mark, I do want to try to, friggin' thing is toasty. I do want to try to wipe it off. That's kind of what carbon tracking looks like, and what it will do is it will just cause spark outside the cylinder, which means the coil is not bad. I need to get a closer look. Can you guys hear that? So my pick catches on it. So make sure if there is little pieces of carbon burned on there, you'll catch it, but it feels, yeah, right there. I don't know if you guys can hear the doors open. Let me get a sharper pick. Yeah, says a mechanic. All your picks look like this, they're all goofy. Let's just see. Yeah, right there. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. That's super interesting, fella. Now I know sure as heck somebody in the comments like, oh, you're clicking it across the writing, fella. Well, guess what, lady? The writing has no profile to it. You can't click it. When we come back over, right there, right by that A, you can't hear it because all the stink cars going by, but we'll wait. You probably did hear it. Seriously. Nobody lives in this town except for 7 o'clock at night. We're trying to do a video. Yeah, right there. I'm making that noise, but it's right there. Whatever it is. Sometimes you can wipe if you got dirty fingers. If there is a hairline crack, you can sometimes wipe dirt on it and it will stick in it and you can see it better. My digits are too clean right now. But that's right where the burn mark is. And that's right where you can catch it with a pick too. Right there, barely visible to the eye. Very interesting, but that would explain what we've seen, why we have inside this coil a carbon track that is essentially half the length of the 90-degree portion of this pick. And if we come up to where that was, that is half the length of the 90-degree portion of my pick. I'm gonna call it. I think the coil's good, but it has a bad spark plug. Why did it not do it when we replaced the coil, you ask? That's a good question. This coil has the carbon track path to ground in it right there. So when that spark plug misfires, you know, this has started to provide its path to ground, you know, via this coil. When we switched coils, we got a clean rubber, essentially a better insulator, no carbon tracking, no path to ground. That's my final call. Of course, everybody wants to know what the spark plug gap is. I can hear you. I hear you screaming. Oh, it's supposed to be probably 54 thousandths maybe. That's a 54. You could probably stick 2 of them in there. What's my biggest one I have is an 80. Ooh, 80 just fits at the tip of the platinum. Next size down, 54. There's a 60 thousandths. That slides in like nobody's business. Spark plugs are excessively worn, so we're going to assume probably over 100,000 miles on this car. Again, there's an 80 thousandths. Almost fits dead on the money. Let's make the call, people. So we'll leave it at that, folks. My intention of this video was to show you how to use mode 6 data, the misfire data, to go through, find the misfiring cylinder without a check engine light and without misfire data in your data stream. Got a little bit sidetracked. My heart of hearts told me I had a bad ignition coil. However, the data, doesn't lie. Everything lines up. I can't exactly see what's wrong with that plug. It does look like a little hairline crack or some kind of just pinhole. It's super bizarre because you can just see it in just the right light. And you can feel it with your fingernail and feel it with a pick, but on camera I don't think it's really showing up that well. The good news is we did get to zoom in on it and see the little bitty carbon track that's going to go right to the base of the plug. And like I say, any spark outside the cylinder, well, obviously it's going to be a misfire. Switching the coil, the only plausible explanation I have for that is, we moved the carbon tracking away from exactly where it lined up, and chances are if we put the number 4 back in there exactly as it was, which it should be relatively close, we probably would have recreated the symptom again. Moving the number 4 spark plug would have taken care of it because we would have indexed it a little bit differently and maybe tightened it a little more or a little less, and the 2 marks would have lined up, and it would have took it a while to find its path back to ground. Moisture in there certainly at some point from the ruffled up boot may have gone down, kind of given it that initial path, from the faulty plug. A little bit of moisture, give it the path to ground, starts arcing, starts making that track, and then it just starts following it. Now I've taken out some spark plugs where you're going to see a carbon track coming all the way from that electrode, straight down to the side, and you have to grind the stuff off. It gets on there so good. Not too uncommon. I guess we'll leave it at that. There's nothing more to say. That's the call I'm going to make on this. I'm going to leave this up to the customer. Tell them about the boots. I think these coils are relatively inexpensive. May get a coil for it, perhaps leaving it sit out overnight. In the correct position, maybe we can get that to straighten out. I don't know. I'll leave it up to them. Obviously needs a basic ignition tune-up. Could you have loaded the parts cannon, heaved it at this thing, and won? Absolutely. If your parts cannon was loaded with 6 new spark plugs, you'd have nailed it. If it was a bad ignition coil, you took the time to pull the intake manifold off, put the spark plugs in it, put it back together, took it for a drive, found out you had the same problem. Now you're hours behind and no further ahead than you were, other than the fact that it has 6 new spark plugs. So hopefully you found this video insightful. Hopefully you can follow along with the mode 6 data. Now sometimes you have to look up the PIDs, your parameter IDs, your TIDs, your test IDs on service data to see what they are, because they're written in hexadecimal. So it might be like $53, and that could be misfire data, it could be evap data. Sometimes you have to look this up. OTC does a fantastic job at deciphering that for you. The eScan does, the launch does on some things. I've noticed kind of hit or miss with scan tools if they identify it for you. Snap-on does on some. Most of them are getting better, so keep that in mind. Generic handheld data or generic handheld scanner like Actron or something, probably not going to do it. Don't know for sure. Might be in hexadecimal. That's a lot of mumbo jumbo. And that's over with. So go down, hit subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up the video if you like it. Give us a thumbs down if you don't, because it's boring, and well, if you wake up at this point, hit the thumbs down because you fell asleep. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.